are going to start off with completing the square to solve a quadratic equation. So as far as I know, you've already done completing the square, but I'm not sure if it is specifically to solve a quadratic equation. So in the chat, tell me guys, what do you remember about completing the square? What do you think my first step should be in this case? In the chat, or raise your hand and unmute. I'd like to hear your voices. There we go, Koki. Hi, Koki. And then Koki vanished. She's like, nope. Factorize. Akila says factorize. Remember, half it and then square. I always like, I claim this one, half it square. And it says 2 brackets, okay? Okay. Okay, so here's what I would do first. If I was to complete the square, okay? First things first is I would get rid of this. Wait, let's do this. Let's fix this page so that it's more comfortable to write on. There we go. Can we all still see my, oh, stuff disappeared and I was like, where's everyone? There we go. Okay, so first thing I would do is this constant is not supposed to be part of, let's take this back. There we go. It's very thin though. Okay. Okay, this is not supposed to be part of my complete the square, and my stylus is acting up. Of course it is. There we go. So I'm going to get rid of it. So we're going to be left with x squared plus, that's a little bit thick. I'll fix it just now. Nope, I'll fix it now because it's too thick for me. Let's fix it. Let's try this now. Much better. Okay. So we're going to be left with x squared plus 6x equals, and what happens when we take it over to the other side? Okay, I have to minimize this so that I can see the chart, otherwise I can't see anything. What happens if I take 12 to the other side? It becomes, okay, I'm assuming you all know because nobody's answering me. Thank you, Annie, positive 12. And now we can do everything that we are talking about. Thank you very much. Now let me do what you were all talking about. I said something about half b and then square and then what? You guys are all correct. You guys are all correct. So we're going to leave our x squared because it doesn't even have a coefficient. We like it the way it is. Plus 6x and then plus. So we're going to say b, which is 6 divided by 2. And we're going to square that equals. Now let's talk about the right-hand side. I have just added a term on the left-hand side. Do we all agree? Just added a term, right? So what do I have to do on my right? Jeez, really? What do I have to do on the right? Is someone unmuted? Do you want to answer? No? Camilla says x plus 3 squared equals 21 at the same term. Thank you very much. If it's a quadratic equation, there's supposed to be 2 brackets, right? Yes, they are. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, remember, we use this formula when making 2 brackets is a little bit difficult. Okay, this is sort of like a foolproof formula that you can use if you're kind of confused about making your 2 brackets. Okay, also square it. Why do you divide by 2? That is how you complete the square. Think about your square brackets. Okay, when you are making, ma'am, how did we get the 6 over 2? I took our b, which is our middle term, this one, okay, and you divide it by 2, or you half it, and then you square it. That is how we make a complete bracket. Okay, why can't we use area? We are deriving the quadratic formula. Okay, guys, try to stay with me now. We're gonna get there now. I like Urea. You are going exactly where you're going today. Okay, so you have to divide the middle term by 2 and then square it in order to have a perfect square bracket. That is the point of completing the square. We want two brackets. It's going to be something, something squared. That's what we want to end up with here, okay? But going back to this, if we're going to add 6/2 squared on the left, we have to do it on the right. Otherwise, you have changed the equation. Do you guys agree? If you don't do it on the right, it means you have completely switched the equation. You can just write 3, Annie. I'm just writing the steps so that you see where it comes from. Okay, so that Noah is like, oh my gosh, where did the 3 come from? So you can just write 3. I'm just doing it so everyone can see where it comes from. Okay, so moving on from this, now on the left, we're going to be left with x squared plus 6x. 6 divided by 2, as Annie just told us so nicely, is 3. And if you square that, it's 9 equals 12 plus 9. So what square bracket can give us x squared plus 6x plus 9? Now you can factorize it. It's a perfect square bracket. Which one is that? Tell me in the chat. Do you guys know how to get it? Which bracket squared will give us? Isn't it you should add and then minus? We did do that, Cynthia. Remember, when you add 6 divided by 2 squared and you minus it on the same side, when you take it over, it becomes a positive. Do you see that? Who asked? Cynthia. Do you see that, Cynthia? So that is exactly what we did. We just put it on the right side immediately. Yes, thank you, everyone. So our bracket on the left is x plus 3 squared, which is what we want. And on the right, we have a 21. You're welcome, Cynthia. So how do we get rid of the square? Everyone, how do we get rid of a square? What's the inverse operation for our squared? Let's go to the side.
Any ideas, guys?
Tabila is like dot, dot. Tabila, what's going on? You use the root sign. Thank you. But what you do on the left, you have to go do on the right to keep the equation equal. Atule, yes. Do you have a question?
Sorry, ma'am. I would like, where does the 3 come from?
It comes from, we factorized. Okay. So let me show you now. Over here on the left, we had x squared plus 6x plus 9. So if we're going to factorize that into 2 brackets, right? Both brackets are going to have x and x. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
To get the x squared. And then if they're both positive, it means both our brackets will have a
Positive.
positive. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
And now we look at the factors of 9 that are going to give us 6x. So 1 and 9 will definitely not give us 6x, but we can use 3 and 3. But that's just the same bracket. So we just wrote it as x plus 3 squared. Do you feel better?
Yeah, I do. Thank
Wonderful. You're welcome. Okay, who else has a question? Is it Michael or Michaela? Is it fine if I don't take the top to the other side? Eventually, you will have to remember solving for x. And our most fundamental rule for solving for x is to get it on its own. If you do it at your own, in your own way, precious, that is okay. But eventually, you're going to have to take everything over to the other side. Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
I can hear you. Do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Can you please explain? Because I don't understand.
Okay. Okay. We'll do another. Okay. After this, guys, do you agree that I'll do A with you again? Okay. Try to follow from where I am now.
Yes.
And keep going. And then I'll do A with you guys again. Slower this time to show you guys what I mean. Okay. Can you explain 6 divided by 2? We took B and we divided it by 2 in order to create the perfect bracket. Can you see that, Simangele? So we take B, the middle term. You have to halve it first, and then square it. Because remember, when you have a square bracket, maybe I should show you the other way around to explain why we halve it. When we have a square bracket, x plus 2 squared equals the shortcut way, right? We're going to say x squared. So you always say the first term squared, right? And then you say plus these 2 times, so you say x times 2, and then you double it. So plus 4x plus the last term squared, which will also give you 4. Do you see? So if we're going to do the opposite of expanding a bracket, if we doubled here, then we have to halve it. Do you understand why now? Ma'am, won't the final be x equals 7 because the squares will cancel each other? That could be one of the answers, Zico, but we need 2. I'm going to show you just now why we're going to need 2 answers. Okay, I hope I explained well. Ma'am, is it necessary for us to use the square root? Yes, ma'am, because we are, well, ma'am or sir, sorry, because we are solving for x. If you leave it here, you have not answered the question fully. Okay. So let's continue with our sum. So now if we square root both sides, let's go ahead and square root both sides. Oh geez, my handwriting just decided to tab out. Don't forget your plus or minus. Don't forget your plus or minus. Do we all understand? Then on the left, you'll have x plus 3 because these inverses will cancel each other, equals plus or minus the square root of 21. Now, how do we get this x on its own on the left? How do we get it on its own? Anyone? Take the 3 over, transpose. Thank you, guys. So you're going to have x equals negative 3 plus or minus root 21. This is 2 different answers because x is equal to negative 3 plus square root of 21, or x equals negative 3 minus the square root of 21. We ever asked whether we're supposed to have 2 different answers? Do you see now that we do have 2 different answers? I know this might be a weird concept right now. I know, but let me do another one and let's see if maybe you guys are sort of starting to get there. How is that? What do you guys think? I know, but that's why I'm saying, let me do another one. This is just to show you where the quadratic formula comes from. Okay. I didn't use the same method, but did you use the quadratic formula, Precious? And he said, yes, ma'am. Precious, I did say we are getting there, okay? But you need to first understand where the quadratic formula comes from. That's why we are first completing the square, okay? It's okay if you used it, but it's important to find understanding. There we go, let's do another one. Okay, let's see what we have here. Let's take the first one. Okay, let's take the first one. See, so it says x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Okay, so step 1, I'm going to say is get rid of your constant because you want to complete the square bracket using these 2 terms. So your constant will be confusing the whole process. So get rid of it, take it to the other side so that you can work with your 2 terms nicely. Okay, so x squared plus 6x equals, if I take it over, it becomes negative 8. So far, I hope everyone is with me, right? I hope so. Let me make my pen a little bit thinner. It's irritating because it's a bit thick. And that's fine. Okay, now we want to complete this bracket. Okay, so we're going to say x squared. And when we are expanding a square bracket, first of all, we double. So we have to do the opposite, which is half it. So you're going to say plus the half of whatever it is that's there. Obviously, now we're going to end up with the same bracket because we have the same terms as in this first question. So you say 6 divided by 2, and you square it. That's the only way you'll be able to have two brackets. Okay, let's do it in, I forgot whose method it was, who said you added and then you subtracted. The reason you added and then you subtracted is because you don't want to change the sum, right? You want the sum to have the same meaning. For instance, we say 2 plus 3 minus 3. It just remains 2, right? So that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to keep the sum constant and not change it. Right, so far, are we with me? Zizi Paul, did you listen? I said, you need to pay attention. I said the middle term always has to be first halved. Remember, when you halve something, it's the same as divided by 2, right? Are you with me? So you first halve it or divide it by 2, and then you square it. Nope, that was not the intention. I thought it was a highlighter. And then you square it. So we first half it and then we square it. And then here, we just put the same thing so that we don't change the sum, right? So I think 3 minus 3, you're canceling them out. Okay, so then we're gonna have x squared plus 6x plus the half of 6 is 3 squared equals to negative 8. It was negative there, so it becomes plus 3 squared. Are you guys with me? Let me stop right there. Someone says, why is it being divided? Because if you square the middle term, you will never be able to get your final term, okay? We have to half it in order to get the last term. It's just the rule that you have to follow for completing the square. So far, are you guys with me? Before I even go further, you have to get this. Are we with me? Leander says, done. I love it. If you guys are with me, you can just continue with D and G, okay? Okay, we're with me so far. Then we are now completing it. So it's x squared plus 6x plus 9. And we already know what the two brackets are, isn't it? Negative 8 plus 9. From the first question, we know that the square bracket here has to be x plus 3 squared equals negative 8 plus 9 is the same as 9 minus 8, which is 1. Then we said, tell me, in your opinion, guys, and I do not get the adding and subtracting part. Okay, Anita, remember, we want to find a term at the end here of our trinomial that's going to allow us to get a square bracket. Okay, so here, we want to end up with a term that's going to allow us to get a square bracket. But if we're going to add something, we also have to subtract it. Otherwise, we're changing the sum. Okay, let me use something simple. Okay, let me say, okay, 2 plus 3 equals 5. That's true, right, Anita? I hope Anita's with me. But if I say, okay, I'm gonna just assume she's with me. But if I say 2 plus 3, and then I suddenly add a 5 on the left equals 5, is this still true? This can't be true anymore, right? So you have to subtract 5 to make it true. Because then, now it looks like a 12, sorry. Because then it is 2 plus 2, which is 5, plus 5 is 10. You're getting rid of the 5 you just added. It's back to 5. So your statement is still True. So I hope Anita is understanding why we have to add and then subtract. So we find a term that's going to allow us to get our perfect square. We add it, but then we subtract it to avoid changing the sum and the meaning of our equation. Hope you guys are with me. Someone said I'm done with all of them. I love it. Here for it. Okay. Then you want to square root both sides. That's what we said. Square root, but on the left you have to have your plus minus. So x plus 3 is going to be plus or negative square root of 1 is 1. So therefore, x is negative 3 plus or minus 1. Therefore, x is negative 3 plus 1. Or, I'm assuming you guys know how to solve for x now. It's okay. Or x equals negative 3 minus 1. Therefore, x is equal to negative 2. Or x is negative 4. How are we feeling? I know it's a lot of information. I'm not meant to dwell on this too much today, okay? This is just to derive the quadratic formula because you're going to use the quadratic formula mostly anyway. Okay. How are we feeling? Ayanda, let's hear from you.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yebo.
I wanted to ask is it okay if we if I don't put 6/2 straight into the calculator, and obviously it will give me 3. Is it okay if I just square it just like that?
Yeah. If it gives the right answer, then it's fine. Just be careful of calculators because some programming is a little bit scary. Okay. Just be able to check it with your brain is what I mean. Oh, sorry, Cynthia. There we go. Is that fine? Umta,
Hi, ma'am.
hello.
How are you?
Well, and you?
I'm good, thank you. Oh, ma'am, I actually don't understand this. I don't want to lie to you.
Completing the square. Okay, well,
I
you're
do
not
understand
going to use it.
but I don't understand how you did the second question because I was with you like the whole entire when you did the first question, right?
Okay. You know what I think happened? I think I lost you here where I added and subtracted. Is that where I lost you?
Yes, ma'am. When you
Okay, let's
when
go
you
step
did
by
the
step.
six over
Don't leave
twos,
me. Do you want to
you
speak to
didn't-
me?
Okay.
Okay, don't leave me. Okay, so we have an equation. That's where it started, right? But I said we want to complete the square of the dudes that have the x. So get rid of your constant. Step 1. Did you hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
That's fine. We're cool with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Then I said, now we want our third term of our trinomial because our trinomial usually has 3 terms. And that third term has to allow us to have a completely squared perfect bracket. So I said to get that term, you have to divide your b term, which is this number 6, by 2, and then square it.
Yes, ma'am.
You get that part.
I get that part.
But then I said, when you add something to an equation, you are changing it. So you either have to add it on both sides, or you have to add it and then subtract it. So let me show you with my same example here. 2 plus 4 equals 6. That's true, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But if I say plus 3 here and I just leave it like that, is that still true?
No, ma'am.
Because on the left, we now have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And on our right, we have 6. It's no longer true. So I either have to go on the right and add 3 as well. That's the first option. Or I can stay on the left and I can say, get rid of that 3 that's putting things off balance. So subtract it. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what I did. So I halved it and squared it, added it, but then I subtracted it as well to keep this equation balanced.
Oh, that's a minus.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
thought that was an equal, ma'am. That's the
No,
thing.
no, it's a minus. It's a minus. There we go. Do you get it?
Okay.
So now we have added it and minused it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But then we still don't want it this side because here's our square bracket, isn't it? Our square bracket is 1, 2, 3. It's a trinomial. So the fourth term has to, bye-bye, go to the other side. That's why this one now goes to the right-hand side. But because it was negative here, it becomes
Positive.
positive. And the
Okay.
3 squared just come from saying 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then you square it. That's where that comes from. So the one that stayed this side is this one, 3 squared, and the one that went over is this one, 3 squared. You with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And then we just solved for our square brackets on this side. We said x squared plus 6x plus 9 is the perfect square bracket of x plus 3, right? And here we added our two terms that we had. We had a negative 8 and a 9, and that gave us 1. Are you still with me?
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And then we square root both sides to get rid of our little dude over here, the squared. But when you do on the left, you have to do on the right. But on the right, you have to add your plus minus. Are you with me?
Ma'am, why do we add the plus minus? I didn't get it.
Because, do you agree that negative 3 squared and 3 squared both give you 9?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why. Okay, we don't add the plus minus with the bracket because we already have a base. Our base is x plus 3. So if on the left we had a 1 squared, you would not need to add a plus minus. So we're saying your square root could either be a positive number or it could be a negative number because we don't know. They can both give you positive 9 or positive 1. Do you see?
Yes, ma'am.
So every time you introduce a square root to a math sum, you have to add your plus minus. Okay.
Okay.
And then we just took our 3 took over, became negative, and then you say, so x is either negative 3 plus 1 or it's negative 3 minus 1. So that plus minus.
Oh, okay. So, ma'am, you're basically solving for x.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome. I hope you feel better. I hope everyone else feels better. How did I end up with negative 4 at the end for this one? For this one that says x is equal to negative 3 minus 1. X equals negative 4. I think I have it now. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if you would have to derive the form. It's very rare that you use complete the square, guys, but just it's a useful skill. I recommend you guys go watch this video slowly again and again. It's a really useful skill to have, guys. Okay, now let's go to let's go to the really, yeah, we'll see if we have a brain break later on. Now we're coming to today's lesson. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready to rumble? Okay, so let's talk about what we just did. Now I get it. Oh, I'm so happy. I feel relieved. So my mark got negative 2 and negative 4, but the quadratic equation is we are only going to derive it now. I said if you used it, it's fine. So you can't leave the one as a square root. Ayole, if you can square root it in your mind, we prefer you do. But if it's something like square root of 5, then you can leave it as a square root, okay? Okay, so you can use the quadratic formula, but we were first deriving it. We're going to derive it first and then we'll use it. Okay, cool. So let's talk about completing the square. What did I say the first step is? Pretend this A, B, and C are numbers. Okay, we're going to find out. I know you guys already know the quadratic formula, but just pretend you don't for a second. Okay, let's talk about this A, B, C quadratic formula. So I said the first thing is you get rid of a constant. What is the constant in our formula here? Tell me in the chat. What is our constant? And he says C. Rachel agrees. Mandisa, thank you guys. So our constant is C, right? So if I get rid of it and I take it over, it becomes negative C. Okay, let me stop there. So I'm going to be left with ax squared plus bx equals negative c. We're satisfied, right? I did nothing complicated so far, right? Now the only problem is we have this little dude coefficient here in front of x. How do we get rid of that coefficient? In front of x squared, excuse me, not x, in front of x squared. How do you get rid of a coefficient in any equation, guys? Think of any equation. How do you get rid of the coefficient of x squared if you're a factor? Divide everything by it. You are a superstar, CK. You divide everything by it. So we don't want you, Mrs. A or Mr. A. We divide everybody by Mr. or Mrs. A. So now we have x squared plus bx over a, and my handwriting is starting to betray me, equals negative c over a. Before I go further, are we with me? Are we with me? Before I go further, it's a very important formula to, yes, thank you, Juliet. Okay, so I said to you, when we are completing this way, this is where we're going, but this is not where we are right now. You need to know where this thing comes from. Go down, 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 away, bye. So what did I say we do with this with the middle term, everyone? Remind me what I said we do with the middle term. You do two things to the middle term, and they both have to do with the 2. Remind me what those things are. Why does it change to a plus? What's changed to a plus? I'm not sure what changed to a plus. Okay, first thing is we divide by 2. And the second thing is we square it. You guys are superstars. Okay, divide by 2 and square it. Half it and square it. Okay, so we still have x squared plus bx over a. Actually, let me write it in a much easier way for you to understand what I'm about to do. B over a x. And then, okay, let's do it on the side here. Say b over a divided by 2 squared. That's what we're doing. That's what you guys said, right? B over a divided by 2 is the same as times a half. Do we all agree? Let me not make decisions before you guys are confused. Do we all agree that dividing by 10 times by half is the same? I hope you guys all agree. Yes. So then in the numerator we'll have b, and in the denominator we'll have over 2a, because 2 times a is 2a squared. Okay? That's what we have. And now let's square it. Laws of exponents. So at the top we're going to have a b squared over 4a squared. Are we all agreeing with what I'm doing? You have to listen step by step. Step by step. Are we all agreeing with my squaring? Or do you prefer me to leave it as b over 2a squared? I think I should just do that, né? I think that will take away a lot of the pressure. Why do you square the 4? I didn't square the 4, I squared the 2. Remember laws of exponents? If you're dividing, you have to distribute the exponent. So you say to the top and everyone at the bottom. But it's fine, let's leave it as plus b over 2a squared. So should I add it? Do you guys prefer to add it on the other side, or that I minus it here? I think I should just add it on the other side as well. Here we had c over a, but what we add to the left, we have to add to the 2a. Ooh, are we all with me? How's everyone feeling? Yes, it's fine. I left it like that. I left it like that. Okay? Are we all with me? Hope we are all with me. So far. Okay, now we have to do our brackets, and now it's about to shake. What square brackets do we have here? Itumeleng, let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, hi ma'am.
Hello.
So ma'am, like I'm lost from the part where you divided that ax squared plus bx is equal to -6, and then you divided it by a. So can
Okay.
you please explain?
Okay. Guys, remember, you won't always have to derive this formula, okay? I'm just doing it so you guys see where it comes from. You must actually only just know how to use it. So how about we make a deal and say, if you don't understand the derivation, how I'm getting it, please rewatch the video because the main lesson is to use the formula, not necessarily divide it, okay? So I'm gonna just finish this off quickly so that we can go on and use the formula. This is just the proof to show you that it's legit, basically. Okay, I hope we have a deal. So if you want the derivation, that's fine also. Some teachers might ask that. You can rewatch this video and see how to derive it. Start all the way from completing the square. Okay, guys. So our two brackets on this side are going to be x plus, geez, my stylus is like not too deep. X plus b over 2a squared. That's my square brackets. On this side, we have negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. The reason I squared this bracket is we have to find our LCD. Tell me what the LCD is on our left. I mean, on our right. I don't know the difference between left and right anymore. What's the LCD on our right? Between these two. 4. That's fine. LCD, guys, lowest common denominator. It is 4a squared, right? It's 4a squared. You guys need to go revise how to find LCDs. 4a squared. So here we're going to have to multiply by 4a, and then you're going to have negative c, 4ac, excuse me, negative 4ac because you just multiplied by 4a. Negative 4ac plus b squared over 4a squared. Okay, this side we still have our perfect bracket over 2. Then how do we get rid of the square root, guys? How do we get rid of the square root? A square, oh my gosh, I just told you guys. Yee! Level's probably thinking, what is she drinking when she is there? We square root both sides, right? And then I said, if there's already a square there, you don't have to add your plus minus, right? So on the left, you just say that over 2a equals. But here you have to have plus minus. And then the square root of, let's write it in a cube way, b minus b squared minus 4ac. Oof, I wrote them too close to each other. Over. Okay, let me write this properly and stop forcing others. Okay, on the left we have a plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over. The square root of 4a is 2a. I sure hope you guys know that. Therefore, x will be equal to negative b over 2a plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. But because they have the same denominator, we can put them all under one sum. Okay, and that is where this dude comes from. I'll do it over here. That's where he comes from. Okay, so I was just showing you guys how to derive it. But the most important part of this lesson is going to be applying it. Okay, so let us apply it. In my sum that we have here. 2x squared plus 5x minus 4. Tell me what my A, B, and C is. Tell me in the chat. If you want to unmute, you're welcome to. Raise your hand. I like talking to you guys. Ngateko. Yebo.
Good evening, ma'am. And
Evening.
A is 2,
2.
and B is 5, and C is 4.
Is it 4? Just 4?
Yeah, ma'am. It's negative 4. Negative 4.
Thank
sorry.
you. Major shout out. Thanks, Ngateko. So, do you want to stay behind and tell me where I'm going to substitute everything? So you're
Yes,
going
ma'am. I
to
can.
stay. There we go. X equals negative. How much is B again?
X is equals to negative 5. It's equals to negative 5 plus minus square root 5 squared into brackets. And then minus 4 into 2. And negative, and C is into negative 4.
There we go. And then at the bottom is all divided
by 2 times 2.
Thank you very much. Now work it out there on your calculator. You guys actually shouldn't use calculators, but it's fine. Okay, 25 minus, okay, now it's plus 4, 16, 32 over 4. Okay, guys, I hope you guys are working this and telling me how much it is. Negative 5 plus or minus, what's 25 plus 32? 59. Oh, that's a terrible one. No, 57, not 59. Ooh, I can't add, and I just told you guys not to use calculators. Do you see the pandemic, guys? You know where the danger is? Over 4. Now, if you're allowed to use your calculator, you're allowed to take your calculator and punch that all in, and then tell me what the answer is. Ma'am, can I do the next one? Yes, ma'am. Is your hand up? Sipokazi has a hand.
Enthusiasm.
Now you guys are like, ooh, something we can see. I shouldn't have killed you guys first, eh? But it's important to find meaning in what we're doing, guys. You can't just do it because we say you must do it. Mangakane, please pop up your hand. Juliet, I know most of the time you'll use the quadratic formula, but it's nice to, know how to use completing the square. Okay, Annie says a positive, okay, let's see. Negative 5 plus the square root of 57 and divided by 4. I got 0.63 or 64. Yes, ma'am. Pamela, there might be something offish with your signs there. Please check again because I got positive, negative 0.6. I mean, you positive, negative, guys. You. This is so easy, I understand. Guys, you guys just want to substitute. I see you. I see you guys. But it's fine.
Teacher, can we take a question from Tando?
Oh, yes. Tando?
Afternoon, ma'am.
Hello. You have a question? I think your connection might be a bit.
My thing says.
Okay, Tando, I think rather type your question in the chat.
Yes.
Rather type your question in the
Because
chat.
I said after plus 32.
Okay. Unfortunately. Yes, Cynthia, that looks right. Okay, Tando, just try to type your question in the chat because you're lacking a little bit. I'm not sure. Guys, please pay attention to your symbols. Like if it's negative, write negative or you're going to get it wrong. And if it's positive, write positive or you'll get it wrong. Okay, so it's negative 3,14 if you use your calculator. So x is equal to negative 3,14 or x is equal to 0. Nope, of course it's not going to work. 0,64. That's what I got. Okay, Anita. Mangakani still doesn't want to give me an error because why did you get -7? Did you remember to square the 5? Maybe that might be the problem. Anita, are you there?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
So
Afternoon.
is it really necessary for us to change it into decimals, or we can just leave it as a surd? Like, I mean, under exam circumstances.
You can leave it as a surge, but if they say, for instance, give it to like round off to 2 decimal places, then I would rather take my calculator and put it in the calculator. Okay. But for instance, if you're writing a test where you're not allowed calculators, then you cannot necessarily, unless there is a perfect square under there, then you can do it. If there's a perfect square, then simplify as far as possible. Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, so we're feeling very confident. Let's do this one. I'm loving the confidence. I think we have time for at least one more, at least. Okay, let's do this one over here. Okay, whoever we spoke to just now, see, this one says correct to 2 decimal places. So in that case, you would have to use your calculator. Level hang wants a brain break, it's fine. Let's do a brain break, but then we have to do the last one. I don't know if it's gonna be a brain break or it's gonna slam you guys because I read it and I was like, whoop. Okay. When my father was 31, I was 8. Now he is twice as old as me. How old am I? All the best. Lebo, let's hear what you have to say. How do you guys think we're gonna do this one? It's actually really interesting. I eventually got it, but at first I was like, really, Peter? Trying to kill me over here.
Prefer the, don't you guys prefer the ones with the animals and the fruits?
Guys, I prefer going on a brain break. Language, you're very, no, you're not close. I'm lying. Yo, I was about to lie. Yeah.
So teacher can, we usually make them stretch when we do the brain break. So guys, if you feel a little bit of a stretch, you can do that as well.
Olemo, that's a nice name. Definitely not 16, guys. How did you guys get 16? That can't, 64 is not twice as old as 16, so that can't work. Think about it, guys. Guys, remember, it says now he is twice as old as me. So it cannot be 16. I'll say 32, 23. Bo, 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 bo. Thank you, Kumo.
Nice one, Kumo. I would like to know how Kumo did it.
I also want to know how Kumo figured it out because it took me a while. Kumo, do you want to speak to us?
Would you like to tell us, Kumo? Share the secrets.
It's okay, Uzizipo. I will put the questions up for a while and then you will screenshot and try them. Hi, Kumo.
We have Kumo on the line.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Kumo.
How did you get it? Please enlighten us with your wisdom.
So what I did is I took the 31 years of the father and I minused it with 8. And that's how I got 23.
So you didn't even check that twice as Kum.
I checked. The twice old is 46, right? So which means
Yes.
I'm 23. Yes, man.
Wow, I like it. Thank you, Kumo.
Wow.
I hope you guys heard Kumo.